everybody? What up? Welcome to the channel. Welcome back. Welcome if you're new. It is kind of late. It's Sunday, March the 2nd, and we are at about 6 o'clock-ish in the evening. I'm going to try to make this quick because I have not eaten yet. I'm still fasting from this morning. Yeah, so I'm trying to stay focused on task because I promised I was going to do this. I wanted to make for sure somewhat of the channel about this because I feel like I can help some people if necessary. If they find this knowledge helpful, that is really what this is all about. And there's been some comments, around the subject matter of testosterone replacement therapy. I'm just looking at the calendar. All right, yeah. Dictate the day, y'all. It's Rich, and he's taking his day. Super busy today. I have accomplished much, and this video was almost going to be impossible, but I am making time because I said I was going to do it every day, and I'm doing it every day. All right, let me just make sure I'm recording. All right, yeah, we good. Sorry. I'm trying this with the lighting this way because of the stigma around the subject matter. Plus, it's late, and I've been staring at screens occasionally today and been in the sun for the majority of the day. All right, so I wrote some notes because I really want to get this accurate as possible because I think it's necessary. I'm almost 50. I'm turning 47 this year. Coming up soon. I'm a springtime baby. And I started TRT probably, it was in October of 2021. I was 43. The reason I took some notes is because I kind of wanted to sum up why I started, because the age is appropriate. Everyone's different, for sure. There's some old dudes out there with rocking numbers on their blood work. Yeah, so I kind of have to give you a backstory on some of this, like why this symptom was present in my life. But the reason I decided after research and all that stuff, and I'm about to get into it, is because of how dark my life had become. I mean, like somebody turned the contrast down and it was almost black and white. Hell, my skin was gray. I mean, I already kind of have a lean looking face. I'm pretty lean right now, but my brothers and sisters of the Holy Tabernacle dictate the day. I looked horrible. People at work were worried about me. It was crazy. All right. So let's go with basically all these symptoms had gotten so bad that I was like, I had to pull the trigger, but I waited a year. So like almost the whole 43 up until, I don't know. Anyway, I did research on ways to attempt to not necessarily take a synthetic hormone, put in my body. So I tried all the shit, all the sleep, the sleep regimens, the magnesium, the supplement. I mean, just the supplements, this, that, the other, my diet. That's when I started fasting though. And I did notice that it was helping, although just a little. It's amazing now. I feel like a superhero. I still haven't eaten. And I mean, I'm not crazy starving. I slammed a shake because I just worked out before the video. Took a shower, slammed a shake, waited for the family to finish up in the kitchen because that's right behind me. And then I came and did the thing. I mean, I can still go without food, but I'm not about to. I'm about to feed this machine some nutritions. Yeah, okay, I need to make this quick anyway. So I felt dark. It was jacked up. My body was shrinking. My skin was gray. I had zero drive. Literally waking up in the morning was such because I knew it was coming the next, like I'd be going to bed and I knew how, it was a cycle of, yes, depression, but other things like weakness. And I was still super caffeinating and going to the gym. But that's how I knew something was up, because I was grinding hard, working, all that. Uh, I don't sleep a lot anyway. That would probably change the game if I found some way to sleep. I'd probably be way fucking bigger, but whatever. I don't train for that anyway. I used to. Damn, made me lose my train of thought. I don't edit. I'm coming right back. uh, but yeah, so I decided to do something about it because all the symptoms had finally, the dam was about to break. So dark. Uh, so I started doing research. I looked into all the online places because there's 150 of those, especially now. Like, it's been almost 4 years. So they're everywhere. They're a dime a dozen. And some of them are legit. Some of them you really want to do your research on. And I'll tell you why as we move on. There's multiple reasons, and probably ones I don't even know. But yeah, so ultimately I found a urologist in Austin. So come to find out, this dude, he was so cool, man. And he was just a physician's assistant, but he worked for the big urologist there. There was a bunch of them. I just got the coolest one. And now that I live in a different city, I see a different one. And he's super cool. Not a whole lot of interacting. Like, I have to do all the question asking and, what I want tested in my blood, because he's going to do the general. But, they give me what I want if you ask, which is cool. That's all I need. But yeah, so found the urologist, and we talked first. They take all your vitals and they talk to you. And I just explained to him how, like, man, I train a lot. I eat good. Like, I gorge myself at night. Yes, I'm fasting. But even I wasn't holding a real lean look anymore. Like, I look skinny. And, of course, the depression was affecting my posture on the regular. Because you're like tired all the time. Like, all the time. You're never like, man, let's go do some shit. Unless you kill a bunch of rock stars or whatever you're into, or, whatever. But he was like, okay. And he was like, well, what we're going to do, and they could actually do the test, my blood test right there. And the results would be right then and there. It was so cool. We just waited for a minute. But yeah, he's like, we're going to test your blood. Somebody came in, they did that, ran the tests. Man, I'm pretty sure it happened the same day. Maybe it didn't. Either way, it was relatively soon, though, afterwards. And he was like, I'll tell you what the numbers were. So I was 43, 42, 43. I don't know why that's so hard for me to remember. It's all the head trauma, which is another reason that you can have jacked up low testosterone and other things going on in your body from head trauma. But you know what? I'll tell you that. So I explained to him my age. So the age is a part of it. Everyone's different, but testosterone starts to slip off when your telomeres start shrinking and, all that good stuff. So like at some point, except for a few people, if you want to stay healing and everything, you're going to need some type of supplementation in there. It's just a common sense kind of thing, but it's really helpful if you have a doctor looking over your blood work too. I mean, unless you know what's up, you can do all the research and really do it yourself. Man, I'm all over the place. But if you watch this channel, you already know what's up. I'm going to be moving all over the place. I'm trying to keep this congruent though, y'all. I'm trying. So we get the test back. My numbers are, man, it's like 726 or something, that's good. That's not bad. But why is all this happening to me? What is going on? Because these are all symptoms. So I started thinking I have a disease. And he was like, hold on, because if we look at because I'm expressing myself to him, he was like, if we look at your everything else here, because my estrogen was fine, but this is I didn't even know this existed, except I found out from the Derek More Plates, More Dates guy, which is a dope channel. If you want research, man, it's like scientist level. You got to look up words sometimes when he says them. Exogenous, erogenous hormones. I'm saying it wrong one of those ways. But it still kind of makes sense. My SBGH, my sex hormone binding globulin, was the highest he had ever seen in anyone. And I forgot what the range were, but the high range is like 40, and mine was like, man, it was like 87 or 90, something, but it was like, he was like, I'd never seen that before. And he was like, so he explained to me in kind of layman terms, and then I did research later to figure out, oh, okay, I see how it works, because there's like diagrams and graphics. But I'm a child, my bad. But the SBGH is holding the free testosterone hostage. So he said, we do the mathematical equation here, you're getting less than 1% of that 700, whatever. But he was like, bottom line, he was like, you're feeling this way, so let's try to fix it. And I was like, relief. I was like, hell yeah, man, let's try to fix it. He was so cool. He was about my age. I think I was a little bit older than him, still a little bit older than him. That's how time works. Yeah, so I feel like I was trying to remember this, and I have this huge logbook. I just didn't want to pull it out. It's got all kinds of information in it. It's like I have a test diary, is what I call it, because that's all I take is test. But testosterone, the pepperoni. Yeah, whatever. I'm starving, y'all, so I'm a little loopy. So he starts me on, okay, yeah, I think we just started here. I'm pretty sure. He prescribed me a 0.6 of a cc or milliliter of testosterone cypionate, 200 milligram. And the nurse came in. It was so cool because they were like, we're going to fix you. We're going to start fixing you right now, because this is not going to happen overnight. This is going to, your body has to readjust and start receiving the hormones, and then we'll go from there. We'll test your blood every, in the beginning, they were doing it like every 2 or 3 weeks. I had to go back up there. And then once we got the system down and the measurements figured out, it was every 90 days. And then after the first year of that, then we just go to every 6 months, unless something's up and I need to talk to him because something's, whatever. But yeah, so we started with 0.6 of a cc. And I would say, because you get this placebo effect, because you're like, I'm on the saucil. But there's hope with that childish gesture moniker that I just did. There's hope there. Because, man, it affects your sexual drive. It affects the mind part of being aroused even. So like nothing is connecting. The wires are crossed. I mean, oh man, I'm so thankful that I took the steps to get this done. So I'm hoping if by me sharing this, someone is like, oh, okay, that's not crazy. Maybe it can help someone else. Taking the day. Do something for someone else today. It's my Sunday mantra. I hate to say mantra, but I try to do some good stuff for people on a Sunday. And then I started to do research. I started to feel better on what was the best way to do this. And you can involve your doctor, and you always should, but without his permission or telling him, because you have to leave a message, you can talk to the portal, it's a whole thing. I was like, I want to do it this way because this makes so much sense. And it was from all my research online. Bioavailability is basically how your body would be supplying it anyway. And I've heard other doctors and endocrinologists and stuff talk about in the morning is like when it's the highest, and then it tapers off during the day, and depending on your diet, your environment, your genetics, da-da-da-da-da. But what made sense to me was your body just doesn't go, here's a bunch of testosterone. It goes testosterone. Mm-hmm. So instead of having your levels on a, line graph doing a bunch of this, you kind of wanted this. So I was like, all right, well, instead of spiking that thing, why don't we do it like this? And I split it into a 0.3, like for the 7 days, I take it twice, which just means another shot. Oh, I didn't tell you that part. So in the office, the nurse came in and gave it to me that day. And then the next time I came back, we talked about it. We did my blood. Numbers were looking better. They were like 906, 986 or something like that. And then they had me show them how to give the shot. Like they were like, so I wore shorts, and I literally just hiked up my shorts because they want you to do it in the quad. They were like, don't go in the glute. I only went in the quad maybe 6 to 10 times because I don't like it. My legs are lean and super veiny, and I don't know. Uh, but so I went keister side because there's way more meat there. And I feel like if you get an infection or something, this is actually, I got this from the dairy dude from More Plates, More Dates. If you get an infection and it gets obsessed and abscessed, obsessed with infection, um, necrotic flesh, all that kind of stuff. I have doctors, we have insurance. I'm going to talk about that too, how this works on insurance. But yeah, you get a chunk taken out of your leg, it's going to affect how your body works and everything. Once you get a chunk taken out of your ass, your arse, it's not as dramatic and life-changing. So I was like, that makes sense. So that's what I started doing. And I'm never even sore there, dude. It's such a tiny needle. It's crazy. Inch long, 1 mil syringe. I think it's, I forgot what the gauge is because I changed it. I went up to even higher one. The liquid is thick when you pull it out. But so it just takes a little bit longer. But man, you barely feel that thing. Some people are taking it sub-Q, subcutaneous, all that stuff. Man, I should have said this in the beginning. This is just my experience. I am not giving medical advice. I'm gonna have to put that in the title now because I didn't say it. Yeah, I'm gonna put that in there. That's gonna take away from some of the descriptive. Dang it! I'll put it in the description too. Dang, because they only give you so many characters. I'm still learning this. This is my 22nd video, 24th video. I don't know. Numbers. Yeah. So that totally threw me off topic. I'm so bad with the attention deficit. You want to go on a bike ride? I want to go on a bike ride. So yeah, split up the shots. I showed them how to do it. Now I only go in the keister. And I have been doing that regimen with the twice a week now for the entire duration, except for the first maybe 4 times because I switched it up. And then, of course, when I went to see him again, I told him I did that because I told him I learned about bioavailability. He was like, that makes sense. He was like, if you don't mind taking the shot, that's whatever. That's totally up to you. So I was like, super cool. And he was just such a cool guy, man. We talked. Unlike I don't know, most of my medical doctor interactions, they don't really care. You can tell they don't really care. Some of them, I just, dang, it's not like I've seen a bunch either, but I don't know. It's just, I like that personal thing because, if you watched any of my other videos or know me personally, I like to talk. I like to go into the bank. I like to, old school. I'm not a boomer. I'm Gen X. Nobody said that. Some people mistake me for, I'm not a boomer. My parents are boomers. World War II and all that. I'm a 78 baby, so I'm a child of the 80s. So yeah, the testosterone working great. I haven't changed those numbers. That is still, everything is my SBGH is corrected. I'm now using this testosterone as is, and I never really I've had some higher numbers. I've had up to 1,200 before, but it's because when they test you, if you take a shot and then you go in to get your blood tested, because it has a 7-day half-life, it's arcing like that. If they test your blood in there, you're going to be, so when they test my numbers, I'm in between 900 and 1,200. It's pretty much systematically. And it's great, man. It's I always refer it to experiencing puberty or something again, but with the mind of a 40-year-old and, almost 50-year-old. It's just, yeah, that is not, once again, this is not medical advice. Obviously, you can tell. But it is my experience. And, I'm trying not to be I'm trying to let people be wise because I've made the mistakes in life. I say this on my videos. It's part of dictating the day, and hopefully you take yours. I'm trying to share my story. And I got the scar or whatever from it already, so you don't have to. Or, hey, that sounds like a good idea. I'm going to go seek some medical help and see if this is a possibility for me. Yeah, so I'll tell you why I think my testosterone or SGBH or whatever, the reason I was lacking in life everywhere during those times. So I was going to move this around in the story, and that's why I kind of debated on whether or not to do this in my telling my story on here, because I've spent a good chunk of my life as a drug addict. Um, and I hate to say drug addict, but man, opiates just work different. I definitely have an addictive personality, but opiates are, for me anyway, it was a big part of my life. It ruined my life. It, ultimately affected my first marriage. It changed me forever. It, on top of all that, wrecked my hormones later on in life because, like, literally, I got on methadone to try to get clean, which is this is not medical advice, which I don't. I tried some Subox, and I don't even know what's going on now. I'm so glad I'm not a part of any of that because of the whole. I don't even know if you can say this, but that one that's floating around right now, turning people into zombies, the Null, the Fenty, the Null. You know what it is. Um, but yeah, so that affects you, and then I've spent more than half my life with a series of head trauma events, from the car accident that I was a kid that gave me the scar on the face, to everything else, just life in general. I ain't bragging because I like scars, but I chased a mixed martial arts career for a long time, which that never panned out. Nothing ever really happened. But man, I've had some crazy smoker fights. But it's the training, it's the sparring, it's, if anybody, you already know, if you're in the realm, what goes on in those places with sometimes your homies. Sometimes the heart gets so involved, people get dropped, people get knocked out. There's been times when I've had such bad headaches after sparring that it has to be pitch dark in the room because any amount of light is like a laser beam shooting through my head. It's so crazy. So there's head trauma there for sure, which is another effector of hormones later. Like, it'll tank them, man. And then, of course, my age at the time. So everything was building up behind the dam to make everything low on the side of the hormone that makes your muscles heal, that double your recovery time or whatever. Everyone's genetics and receptor sites for testosterone are different. That's why this is just my story. I'm not saying this is going to work or how it would work for anyone. This is just my shit. What else did I write down? Oh yeah, let me talk about the insurance and stuff. So the first form of testosterone that I was getting was testosterone cypionate, and it was from a compounding lab in San Antonio. And I would just call the doctor. I would always mess this up too. I'd either call the pharmacy or call the doctor, but they would get 2 and 2 together, and then I'd get my shit. I'm real paranoid about running out and messing up how I like a system. If you know me, it's the OCD thing again. But I would get paranoid, and I'm always, another thing, if you know me, I'm always preparing for like the zombie apocalypse, and that's just a generic term for anything like the power grid going down or whatever. That it would be cool to have some extra on backup just in case I couldn't get to the doctor, or we're all wearing masks again, and it's whatever, man. You know what I mean? Whatever. But they were super strict. They ain't playing no refills. You got to talk to them. Da 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 da. It was from some compound lab, and it worked great for me because I had nothing to compare it to. The doctor visits with my insurance, the copay was like less than $50. Getting the testosterone from the compounding lab was $65, and they'd give me 10 milliliters in 2 5 bottles, little glass things. You got to shield them from the light, or that's what it said. Yeah, $65, 2 of those. It lasted me 3 months, and man, it was perfect with the amount I was taking. Like, literally, I am tilting the thing, trying to suck out that last little bit to make it exactly what I need. I explained that to the doctor. I was like, man, can you just write me a thing? And the pharmacy was like, yeah, because these expire on you towards the last couple of weeks. Doctor said it's fine, because I told the pharmacist, he was like, just tell him to write you another vial in the script and, whatever. And I was like, okay. And he would not do it. They ain't playing no games. And I get it, whatever. But since I've moved here and see this huge urologist conglomerate thing here. It's totally different. Like, they have a huge cancer ward for prostate cancer. It's huge. But they were real cool, man. The receptionists, they were super cool. Of course, I do all my pre stuff. I make, you got to go into the portals and fill out all your things, get your insurance on there. Um, Luckily, my wife's got the big girl job and it has insurance. Expensive as fuck. You already know. But it's worth it, man, because for us, because we got the kid and, we're getting older and all that. So it's about the same price because now at the new spot, I use, man, that Good RX is some fire. Because I use that with the insurance because they can double it up. Sometimes you ain't got to use your insurance. You just use the Good RX. I'm doing a commercial for them. Man, if this finds its way to the Good RX, you could be my first sponsor, bro, because I can talk about this forever. But I'm not a specialist. I don't know nothing. I know what I know because I've experienced it. Yeah. So now it's different. I don't get it from a compounding lab. I get it from I don't know. It's one of the major drug manufacturers, pharmacy, prescription drug manufacturers. It's not Lilly or Illy. It's not them. It's, man, I don't know. But it's totally different the way it looks too, because it's real clear and it's these little baby 1 ml things. So I get, it's because I take a 0.3 every 2 days, which means there's a little tiny corner left in it. For me, in my obsessive compulsive, it's a nightmare, but it works way better. I noticed a big change when I switched it because the milligram is the same, but the actual thing is not made in a compounding lab. They get the rough ingredients from wherever, then they compound it here locally, and then they send out, this is not it. This is something totally different. So in my experience, the better product is, that. I'm gonna sum this up as I'm dying hungry. There's all these places online that you can order from, and they do your blood check, and you get to talk to a doctor. The More Plates, More Dates guy has one. It's expensive though, but it's like the dopest. It's like the red carpet experience. I don't know what's going on now. I did some research a couple years ago, but I'm happy with my situation, so I don't know what's going on that side for him and that whole thing. Because I know they were cracking down on the telemedicine stuff. I'm good by going to the doctor. But they're still out there. I get them in my feeds all the time. There's like Henry and Top Dog Mail. I don't know what it is. Top Dog, shout out St. Gillis. I also, I didn't want to leave this out because on 2 separate occasions, I have done a peptide, a BPC 157 for my knees and my elbows and my wrists, just from all the sparring, all the craziness. I've been a bartender for over 30 years and serving and in the restaurant industry, so my knees are kind of jacked up. My lower back is definitely jacked up. I couldn't really find a positive way to get the BPC in there because they're just subcutaneous, but I guess it does help to do site injections, not medical advice. This is just my experience. You should seek medical advice for everything like this underneath the sun, okay? But yeah, I was just thinking about titling this, not medical advice, but this is my testosterone journey. That's the hardest part of these, man, is picking those things and then a thumbnail. Speaking of the thumbnail, I'm about to load something super cringe on purpose. It's my blue steel pose, if you know what that is. My Ben Stiller fans. Zoolander. I just gave it all away. Whatever. Check it out if you don't know what it is. And if you know what it is, what it do. All right. That's pretty much, I think I summed up everything without getting too deeper into any other stories. Yeah. So that's that. My weight gain went from because I dropped down to there were some days I was weighing 132 pounds. I'm 6 foot tall. So I was looking nasty. But now over the course of, I'd say within the first 3 months or so, I put on about 8 to 10 pounds, and then over the course of the years, and my training regimen and my diet, and I'll get all into that in another time. The supplements I take, because I take a meal replacement, vitamins, ashwagandha, whatever, turmeric, black pepper, whatever. But I'm going to put it all out there. It's my story. Uh, yeah, I think we're good right there. Because I'm about to smash some grub, everyone. All right. I'm going to see y'all tomorrow. I'm hoping to do the walk and talk because I really like those, man. This room is cool, but, I don't have much on the production side yet. I'm still working on that. But the outside, man, it's like a nature walk. It's so good. Check it out if you feel like it. And if you do want more details on any of this subject matter, hit me up in the comments because that's the only way I really know how to make this work. For now, I have an Instagram and I'm going to do the fitness side of that. I keep saying it. I'm just going to work it in. I'm just in no rush because if I start to rush myself, I'll start getting negative. And you know what I talk about? Putting wins in the bag, man. Use that momentum with the wins in the bag. And if you're wondering how my day went today, because yesterday was kind of here, much better, much better. I had some more comments of people saying, we learn from our mistakes, and that's what makes it okay. As long as you're learning from it, fixing the problem. I appreciate that. I can't remember that guy's YouTube handle. It's like pronoun police or something. I don't know, something like that. Thank you, man. Whatever that gender thing, I just messed it up though, didn't I? Thank you, person, human, brother and sister of the universe. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm just bullshitting right now. All right, you know what it is. You know how I like to sign it off. Day takers, although it's night. Hey, take the night too. That might be my other channel. What's good? Okay, I'm back at it. Day takers, take your day because Dick is going to take his. All right? Get in there. Spread the love. Share the knowledge. And I will see you tomorrow. And I'm really liking this stuff, y'all. It's great to get this out. Thank you. I love you. For real.